Hello and good afternoon. How are we all doing? Hope you're all well. Should have had that showing at the beginning, but never mind. It's all good in the grand scheme of things. It's been a while since I've done this particular piece, the Rogue Star ship. But with Easter, we had Easter, we had Bank Holiday Monday, and there was one day where I actually left. I was out of town, so I couldn't really stream. So I thought it's about time I've come back and finish this off. We got far, but not very far. But first of all, thank you. Welcome. Hope you enjoy this stream, and you enjoy me for for future ones going forwards. If you do like the stream, as usual, just give us a good thumbs up and share it with anybody that you think might be interested in this this artwork, or this drawing, or this channel. And by all means, if you want to see more and keep up to date with latest videos I release, just click the old subscribe and bell buttons so you get some form of notification. So with that out of the way, let's get cooking. Okay, so for those who've been sticking with my channel, you know that I've been reworking on some of the old JAZZA pieces, just reworking them, doing a newer version, one that I'm a bit happier with going forwards. And this is one of those pieces that I've been working on, and it was basically the Rogue One ship from the Rogue Star ship from the Tabletop Time channel from Draw with JAZZA, and the art with the original design and concept was created by Josiah Brooks of Draw with JAZZA. So he's the person who put this initial craft together, and this is just a redraw of that particular ship. And I wanted to improve on the original version. And just to recap, as you can see with this one, the 3D elements and angles wasn't particularly great, and also my skill with the line work wasn't as sharp and as efficient as I would have liked it to have been. But with the short deadline, working full time and everything else, it was difficult to do it all the way I wanted. So I started drawing this recently, redrawing this particular guy recently, and this is where we got up to. So we've got the basic pencil outline, and I think it's fair to say that the actual angles feel more accurate. So today what I'm going to be working on is just trying to refine this a little bit, and then start adding some of my own flavors to it as well. So I don't know how clearly you can see it, but let's see how we go. And feel free to join in chat if you wish to comment or share or anything. I'll be more than happy to talk to you guys. So quick grab my coffee before I get going. Okay. So as I said, we've got the majority of everything here. So I've put all the pieces in there. So I've got all the shapes and everything else. So all I need to do now is just really start putting it together and start making it, start molding and shaping it. So let's not keep waffling on, and let's get going. So starting with the outside, let's just try and sharpen the actual main part of the body, or at least the nose cone anyway. fact, let me flip this up. So let's get this nice straight clear line. Which hopefully should make it a bit clearer for you guys to see as well. So normally this sort of thing you should really do with a ruler, but I know for me personally, I have my own personal reasons not using a ruler, but it is advisable to do it if you've got it. I just personally find your rulers a bit awkward to use, or uncomfortable to use, I should say. Right, so that's the first thing I've noticed. Is here I haven't quite incorporated that, so I need to just make a slight adjustment here, just a slight one, just so that it feels more accurate. So I don't want to do too much there because I'm trying to work this out actually. Actually, I think it's probably more like that, isn't it? I'll sort that out later. I'll come back to that. That, because I've just noticed that bit isn't the same as this, so I need to sort that out. Let's do this first segment first, and I'll come back to it. So this is the actual cockpit section, where the guys all sit. Now I can put this over here for reference, so I know I'm getting the shapes and everything the same as the original. Because I'm trying not to change the ship too much on this one. As this is the main ship, I want it to really still look like the Rogue Star. And we've got this little section in the front here. Now there's a little indent here, so let's try and make sure I fit that in. Try to get the angle right as well, so that it works with the ship and the angle that we're looking at as well. I'll work this out. Right, so I think that needs to be further down. That's it. There's this other little bit here. And there's another little segment in front. Okay, so that's the first segment. Now he's got, in the original picture, and this is not my version, this is the original actual picture, there's the windows have got this box standard window you have in a house. But I want to kind of make it a little bit more, just a touch more interesting. So it just looks a bit more slicker. In fact, if I make that slightly angled. Just give it a bit more of an edge. In fact, I might even bring the window up a bit. Because as I say, I'm trying to keep this ship looking like it did in the original artwork, but at the same time, look a bit more unique. This is little split sections in front. What I've done here is I've given them a bit of a step. So it's just a bit of a fancier design front. Okay, right. Now let's try and work out this back piece here. Actually, that's probably okay, actually. Now looking at it. Now I'm just going to draw a nice straight line across the top. But I'm going to break it up in a minute. Because again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make this less of a flat picture than the original artwork. And I say it's not a criticism at all. It's just it was a very 2D flat image when it was designed. But I want to, and that includes on mine as well. But I want to give this ship a bit more, just a bit more to it. I want to make it just feel a bit more solid. Just like with some of the other pictures you've seen me do recently. I just want to give it a bit more, just something more than just a straight, straight flat line. In effect, what I'm trying to do is just give it a bit more of a 3D effect. And in fact, here, I'm going to make it even, add a little extra bit here. And give it a bit of an angle. Make it a little bit wider. Trying to make sure it's all balanced as well. Ooh, there's my little eraser. Where's it gone? There it is. If you do make any comments and I don't respond straight away, please don't feel like I've ignored your comments. I do particularly me, I can get into the artwork sometimes and forget there are people maybe asking a question, whatever. But if that is the case, then please bear with me while I find the response. So don't worry too much about that. I will respond. Okay. Right, now looking at this, oops, let me shift that underneath there. That's it. I feel like that still could do with a bit more. A little bit more work on it. Let's give it something a bit more originality in the design. There we go. I felt that wasn't quite working for me. And in fact, just had a thought of how I can make this just a little bit more interesting. So if I give it a little, some kind of pipe at the corners. It's giving it a little bit more of an edge, isn't it? Okay, right, so that's that bit. So let's do the side element now. Now, I haven't done this on this one, but I'm going to add it on. There is a slight angle on the front part. Which then goes back into this piece here. Okay, so bring this line forwards. Nice even line there. And then we've got something sort of roughly here, some sort of vent or something. You know me and vents. This vent is actually already here, but you know what I am with vents. I always find putting vents on things just give that ship a little bit more of a reality. Because obviously, well, with any machinery, no matter how weak the battery is, they always generate some form of heat. So you need something to let that heat out. Or it could be just to let air in. It all depends. Obviously, as this is a spacecraft, letting air in is not a primary function. But I suppose it could always be that it closes off when it's in space, and when it's out of space, it stays open. I'm going to leave it as it is for now, but that's the way it's going to go for this stage. Now there's this side bit here. Should I make it sunken or outer? I think make it out. Make it stick on. There you go, give it a bit more of a slight variance on the side there. Okay, so there's a window here. Well, there's two bits of windows here actually. The first one is one that's angled back. That's it, it's angled back a bit further actually. And then that comes forwards. In fact, let me try and, because I want it to look right. It just feels a bit odd, the shape. But what I think I will do is I'll use it. Give it some kind of side panel with it. And the window's divided. I'm not completely sold on that, but never mind. Okay. I'm not quite sure what I was thinking there, but it doesn't really work. Okay. Okay, so and I'll put another little vent in here. Okay. Okay, so this ship is going to, obviously it looks like it's going to change design slightly, shape slightly, but it's just going that way. It's not intentionally changing anything. But I hope it'll make it that bit more interesting. Because I actually do like the design on this ship. I do. It feels like it was like some sort of freighter that they got, you know, like a cargo ship or something, or mechanical, you know, or maintenance craft or something to that effect. I don't know, but it's kind of what it felt like to me. Okay, so that's the side bit done. Another little side bit here. Now I think I'll make this a vent, but different type of vent. Not the same type as the other one down here. This will be sort of the Venetian blind type vent. Just basically a couple of little lines, and then some angled lines. All right. It's taking some shape, which is good. Now this is some painting line here. Now I don't actually know whether JAZZA actually did an actual stream, not stream, but whether he did a video of designing this craft. I don't know. If he did, that's great, because I'd like to see it. I know that he's done one of 2EE. I know that much, but this ship I don't know whether he did anything specific on it. But it would be interesting to see. Okay, so in addition to this, there's this section here that has some sort of boxes. So rather than making these windows, which is probably what they were, actually that's what this is, but never mind. I think it'd be quite good to make them into something else. So it's like little decor or something. Okay. All right. So this is the back end of that. Now he's done it as a complete square, but I'm wondering whether I should just do a little of an angle, because it's not about adding angles that just change the way something looks. In fact, already I can see something on there that makes it, giving it a little bit more of an edge. Now, how far did I go into this? I think I'll still keep this bit square. Okay, so the next thing is this circle bit here. So the top bit, I'm going to make a dome, but I need to make sure it fits. It's even-sided, you know, symmetrical. And that's always hard to do. It's hard to do that on a sphere in a spherical shape in the first place, but when it's at an angle, it's even harder to get things even, you know. See, every time I'm doing it, still this far bit keeps feeling slightly off. It's almost there. Yeah. think I've got it now. So there's an outer ring, or inner ring rather. So it's going to look almost like Saturn, almost a bit like Saturn. The rings are Saturn. Okay, that worked better than I thought. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it actually was, but actually worked out. Oh, good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So I wasn't sure if that was going to come off, but yep, it's good. Good. Right, let's get this line out of the way. One thing I've been learning to do, basically from a little trick from learning from other artists, is not use my erasers as much as I used to. I used to use my eraser all the time. Like, you know, I draw a line, wasn't happy with it, get frustrated, rub it out, try and draw it again, and get even more frustrated because it still didn't work. And I'd be constantly erasing things all the time, and never really getting to where I want, because every time I tried to draw it, it ended up being not what I was trying to accomplish. But I've learned that drawing is kind of like sketching. You know, if you mold, for example, if you're molding, like, say, plasticine, you're making a plasticine man or something, or creature or whatever, you have to keep squeezing it, mixing it, pushing it together until you're happy with how it looks, until you're completely satisfied that you got your head right or your body right. And drawing is the same thing. This is something, again, this is something I think I'm realizing more and more, is that when you're drawing something, the temptation is to think, oh, it's supposed to look like this, and I'm not getting it, and you allow yourself to get frustrated because your drawing is not immediately screaming what you're trying to draw. But what you need to do is treat it like a sculptor, like you're sculpting something, like you're sculpting a piece of, you're sculpting a piece of clay. You have to slowly push it into the direction that you want it to go until it's getting there. You should never just expect it to just fall into place immediately. You should always just keep pushing and pushing and pushing until it actually gets to where you want it, if that makes sense. And it's something I've started to realize when it comes to drawing and stuff. You don't expect it to be there straight away. Give it time to breathe. Give it time to actually grow and become what you want it to become. Don't force it into a corner. For example, today I was working on some Halloween design T-shirts that will hopefully release later this year, and there was one of them was a witch character, and I wanted a specific thing in my head, and I was trying to make it go into that direction. I was trying to make the witch the witch character really feel a certain way, and I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't quite get it to do what I wanted. But once I stopped trying to force it into one direction, tried to go in a different, let the picture make its own decisions, so to speak, it started to fall into place. And although it's not the design I had in my head, I think it's better for it, because it actually feels more, I can't think the exact word, but it feels a better picture. The style of it is better. The feel of it is better. It just feels more in line with what my vision was, even though it wasn't exactly the same vision that I had for it. So sometimes you just got to let things, you know, grow on their own. Right, now, that's the tricky, well, that's, the, so to speak, the easy part, this front bit. Now we're going to get into the more complicated part. So, in fact, I need to just add that little box shape there. That's it. Right. Now this front bit is a lot higher than I've made it, so I need to make that a little bit taller. And that is about there, isn't it? Okay. Now you might notice on the original picture, these are all circles, these bits here, but I've done them as squares, and hopefully you'll see why I've done that in a moment. But if you always start with squares first and then make your round circles, I've found that it tends to make it a little easier to mark it, make your circle shapes, because you're giving it something to fit into. So here's the first of the many engines or pipe bits that's in this original image. Right, I think that's the first one, almost there. Now, rather than it just being a flat piece of pipe, let's add a bit of additional detail in it. I'm still being quite loose though. I'm still trying to be very, very loose, because if it's not right, I still need to be able to erase it. And you know what? I've just thought this will make quite a nice little additional design feature. It's not in his original artwork, but I'm adding it in. This is my own little touch. Honestly, I wish I had more the time and the skill to do this way at the time of the competition. I think that would have been so cool. The good thing is this bit here, I don't need to worry too much, because you can't really see it as well. Because it's all hidden. As long as it feels like it's there, we're good. Now you remember a few minutes ago I was saying about let the picture draw you to where you need to go. I didn't know how I was going to do this bit, and I just seen something here, and it's kind of forcing me to sort of do this part first, because I think this is where this is going to really work, really fly. And I think this is where I'm going to make the change, you know, a big change on this. Oh, you know what? This is perfect. Because this has given me real inspiration what to do for this bit. Now, you don't know if you can see what I've done there, but it's gone from being a very straight, flat edge, flat pitch, and let me show you this quickly. It's gone from being very flat, straight line piece to slightly more curved and angled, and it feels like those pipes, you know, the pipes you see in the water pipes and things like that. It's got that kind of a feel to it now, and I think that's going to make a huge difference on how this is going to, the end result of this is going to be. Yeah, I'm very pleased with that. Now the trick is going to be copying it from this end. That's the only downside, is making it work the other side. Okay. I think the angle's probably slightly off there. In fact, I think that's what's wrong here. Is this line here? Just try and bring. This is just a guideline. This is not part of the drawing. I'm just putting a guiding line on it because I feel like. Oh no, that's right. It doesn't feel right because of where I'm sitting, but it feels like it should be higher up. I don't know. It felt. Sorry. I'm trying to work this out. Right. It's really odd. It feels wrong, but it's actually does make sense. It does actually work where I'm putting it. Why does it not feel right though? Still doesn't. Feel like it should be there. Yeah, that feels better. I think that's right. We shall see, but it's still light, so I can still change it. Right, I think I've got it. So if I move all those, yeah, I think it's as good as I'm going to get it for now. But so we're still at the early stages yet, so I've still got to refine it. And when I refine it, that's when I can start worrying about whether it's 100%. I'm still placing everything at the moment. Right, well, I can see the shape of that is not completely right. So let's just bring that round a little bit. Just a little bit. Round that up a bit as well. Just a little bit. I don't know if it's going to make any sense having these circles inside, but might as well make it something. Okay. So I've got this little symbol here, little sunken area. Now this isn't in my original drawing, but because there's a gap there now, I need to put something here just to fill that gap a bit. Rather than putting too much over detail, let's just stick with that. Okay, so that needs to come back a bit further, I think. It's a very small area there, meaning that there is not quite right. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to make I think I'm going to make a slight change here, because I think this will work quite nicely. Again, it's all about making this, keeping it still the same shape, but adding little tweaks here and there that just make this shape that bit more interesting. And I kind of like this. See, another thing I've just thought of adding which I'll do in just a moment. See, sometimes construction lines can really do more than just give you a guidance where your op was going to go. Sometimes construction lines inadvertently give you an interesting take on something that you wouldn't have thought of in your original concept of the piece. And what this has done here is it's given me an idea of all this connecting bits is more of a lattice. So there's a bit more of a lattice effect going on, if that makes sense, if you understand what I'm getting at. Don't know if you can see that yet, but hopefully you can. See, when I did this last week, this wasn't even my original idea. Now, I've got a bit of a dilemma, all right? Anyone that's been watching JAZZA knows that he's just released this new set of, this new, what do you call it, art box. A part of me really, really wants to get it. Really, really wants to get it. Problem is, it works out to be about 80 quid, which is a heck of a lot of money. Appreciate that it's not that much when you compare it to, you know, what these boxes normally cost, but it's still a lot of money. And a part of me wants to get it. I think it'd be a good investment, but I'm just thinking that is a lot. That's a lot of bread for something that's just basic. Even though it's a limited edition, and everything else, in effect, is just an art box at the end of the day. And I'm trying to decide: do I want it because it's limited? It's limited. It's only be a one-off thing. It's not going to be there. And I'm like, should I get it? Should I not get it? I'm really on the fence on this. I mean, if money wasn't an issue and I had plenty of spare capital around, there'd be no question of me doing it. I would just get it now. And I could get it, but it's going to leave me short financially a little bit, and I don't want to. I don't want to burn myself out just for a bit of art materials. Effectively, I think it'd be fun, and I think it'd be good to do a video on it. But I really don't know if I should. I should fork out for it. Now that looks good. So I just wonder what people thought. As I said, it will. On one hand, it will be an investment. Absolutely, I'm not gonna. Can't knock that because it will be. But is it really worth me doing that just for an art box, limited or not? This lattice design, I think, is really working for me. Really is working. It's just basically streamlined the whole ship. Wow. I'm quite surprised by that, I have to be honest. Okay. Excuse me. So the next tricky part, which is this one here. Now hopefully this groundwork I did with the circles earlier will make this not so difficult. Now the good thing about this is when I do this in Photoshop, all I would need to do is get the shapes on one and copy it and manipulate it. But when you're drawing it all traditional, every one you have to draw it in separately and do it the same each time. In fact, worse, you have to actually, depending on the angle, change it slightly so that the angle fits better with the piece. All right, so let's do the inner section. So I'm just concentrating quite a lot because I want to try and get these circles looking as correct as I can. Don't think I'll get much better than that. And then the inner circle there. Now, see, this is where I'm struggling a bit because I'm trying to draw these circular things at an angle, and I'm trying to see how it works. Let's draw the outer box first. In fact, on reflection, I think I've seen where I'm going wrong. Well, I've gone a little bit wrong on it. Because it's at an angle, this circle should be more over this side than the other. See, already that feels better. Because basically, it should be more of an ellipse than anything else. Right, let me just try and get this line. Feel like the curved angle is correct. Yeah, I think that's about right. Pretty sure it's not perfect, but I'm going to work it out. As I refine it, I'll get it better. Just trying to get the gist of where this all goes. Okay, so that's that one. Slightly wider. That's it. These are always the tricky bits when you're trying to, when you get to the point where you're just working things out and trying to see if it works, you end up just taking all your concentration. So if I do go silent, I apologise. But this is just one of those bits that I need to make sure that it's looking right, you know? Oops, angle on that slightly wrong. So what, drawing curves at an angle is one of the trickiest assets of any drawing. Drawing squares is one thing, but drawing curved lines to make them look that they are at an angle, it's incredibly difficult. Rewarding when you get it, but difficult. See, this still doesn't feel, it still feels slightly off. Getting there though, slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. Oh man. And then the last segment. Now I kind of feel that this should be slightly more angled because it's going to be the actual thruster. So I can't help but feel that this needs to come out a little bit. Perhaps need to round it up a bit. Make it a little bit more curved. just to help sell it. Oh, right. Okay, now I've got this. I feel like this front bit still feels a little on the flat side. So let's see if we can refine it a bit. Because once I get this bit right as well, it will help me with the top one and getting that the way it needs to be. In fact, if I bring it back a bit, bring it back, sing it back. I think it might help to bring the get the angle right, get the angle in there. Right, let's just get rid of this line here, because sometimes when the line is wrong, when it's too thick, it can sometimes distract you from seeing what you need to see. Okay, that's good. See, now it's showing me what I need to see to make this feel more accurate. Right, let's get rid of this line a second. Sort of there. It's not quite gelling the way I'm expecting it, but it's sort of getting there. All right. Let's add a little bit of detail in here in this side bit. So I don't want to put too much detail too soon. Okay, so now we've got that one. Let's do the top one. We've got our guide now. Okay, so first of all, let's make this just a little bit more over. Oops. Tell you what, doing this bit is it's a lot harder than you think. Okay, I think it's about as good as I'm going to get it. Now, I hadn't planned on it, but I'm going to add an extra ring because there's a bit of a ring around this one. I think it looks quite good. It gives it a bit of a nice extra added detail. Okay. Try and get this the right size because it needs to match as much as possible. Feels too fat for some reason. Okay. The other thing as well is obviously this is on top of, so I need to make sure that this clearly is above the other one. So we need to cover up some of the detail. Right, I'm doing that because fill this bit here feels too fat. And it's not making it's making it harder for me to see if it's right or not. The same goes for the bottom part. So I think I've got it now. Right, just so that I've got a nice, try and keep it all uniform. Let's try and bring these lines back a bit. So the first bit, first segment is here-ish, give or take. Now, I'm going to add this line in quickly because this will help me with the guiding line for the rest of the outer segments. And again, I've got to remember that this is going to cover up some of the one below it. Same goes for that. There's the second segment. All these fiddly little bits. Fiddly, 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 fiddly. Fiddly fi-fo. This one's not gelling the way I quite want it for some reason. This is the bit where I was up at the bottom, where the engine's coming out a bit. So changing the angle slightly. The reason I'm changing the angle slightly because it's giving a sense of the whole thing is it's leading a wider edge at the back. Not something I've tried in the past, I'll be honest. At least not successfully anyway. So it is pretty much a challenge, but I'm pushing the envelope out. So on the plus side, I'm actually giving myself, I'm pushing myself to do things a bit better. Okay, and again, there's that little cutout area. Again, just to keep it uniform. Whew. Ugh. Okay. So, well, we've got this bit in the middle here. So I need to finish this part. Okay. So I'm just putting these funnels in because we're almost finished on the old details. So I'm in concentration mode again. I apologise. Oops. Try not to hit the camera where possible. Easier said than done. And then there's one on either side of here. Now I've got to be honest, I'm not quite sure why he's put so many of these funnel things on this ship, but that's the design he's done, so I've got to stick them in there. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm curious as to why he needs so many of these funnels. Okay. Now, so I'm trying to figure out how these guys are going to fit on. I think that worked actually. And then bring that in as well. So I'm trying to think of how these guys gonna fit. Well, to be fair, he has got that secondary connection there, isn't he? Okay. So all I've got to do now is this far side, which will still be tricky, but it won't be as tricky because some of it's hidden anyway, so not going to be too bad. Okay. Now that feels massive compared to that. So that's one problem I've got there. Yeah, that's way too big, isn't it? Okay, so let me get rid of this a second. Oop, cushions fall on the floor. Okay, I thought this bit was going to be easy, but it's not as easy as I initially thought. It's actually more back here, and it'll be a heck of a lot smaller than I've drawn it. That's probably more the correct size. And it needs to be more over this way as well. Okay. No, that's still not right. Hang on. Getting ahead of myself. Getting ahead of myself. It's actually here. Meaning that needs to be there, isn't it? Right. I'm trying not to erase too much because I need to see where this line is going. Right, so in fact you can actually see more of it than I first anticipated. This is why you shouldn't go straight into drawing straight away, because if you go straight into an artwork fully all inked in lines, and then you get to a point like as far as this, and then you realise, oh, actually that's wrong. But then it's too late, and the damage is done. You can't undo it. This is still pencil, so I can undo it as many times as I want. The only downside is, even with pencil, as light as you are, there's even a point of no return with pencil as well, where if you really look carefully, you can still see the pencil lines where you've been working on it. So it's really important to calculate where everything goes first before putting any kind of final inking. Okay, so this part's quite large, so we need to make it about there, I think. So this is why I said that this will probably take 3 or 4 streams to get right. So it's not the easiest ship design in the world. There are definitely easier ships. It's easier to try to draw the Enterprise than this one. And the Enterprise is quite detailed, especially the more modern versions, but it's still, the shapes are relatively easy. But this one is very complex. Which does make it more interesting to draw, but it also makes it more challenging to draw as well. There we go. I knew there was something wrong there, and I could now know what it was. Because once I get past this bit, I can start, adding a bit more refinement and make it that bit more solid. Right, so now we're going to the last bit, which is the engine section, thrust of it. This time you don't see that much of it. Okay. Now the annoying thing is there's another one just underneath. So that's the thruster coming in. One band. Two bands. This is the bit. This is the point where I go. I feel like drawing these in the cells all the time. Right. Okay. Now this is an additional thing that I hadn't planned on, but just feel I just need to add a little something just to finish it off. All right. Okay, so how long have we been going for? Not even sure actually. Let me just check how long we've been going for. 1 second. Let's not go for 1 hour 40. So I'm going to take the next level up, which is the 3H. We'll see how far we can get with this. So this is me going to be starting to refine this a bit and really bring it in. Oh, let me just change the lighting slightly. The sun's shining on the picture. That's it. Whew. It's quite nice out there today. Right, so I'm just adding some additional detail on here now. Trying to give this some character. Right, I'm going to take these middle bits out, because I feel like they're taking away some of the coolness. Because I'm liking the way the window is starting to look a bit more vicious. It's not vicious, but it's looking different. It's looking more, I suppose, functional, for want of a better word. I'm even going to add an extra segment on here. And again, this is just all in part to try and add a little bit of something extra to this craft, to give it that little bit more personality. So I think I've reached that stage, the fun stage, which is the creative part. This is the bit I enjoy the most, is when you've got your piece down, you've got all your shapes in place, everything's where you want it to be, and now you're thinking, well, what can I add to make this that bit more special? And what I'm doing is on here, instead of having just straight edges, just adding some curves on it. Just because it just gives that, it just adds that little depth, a bit more depth to it. I wonder if we can do this with that. I wonder if we can get some light on it without overdoing it. No, it'd be a bit too much. Hopefully you can still see it clearly. make these a little more refined. Just so a little bit clearer. Thank you for joining me today, by the way. Do appreciate you sticking with me, and I hope you are enjoying the stream, enjoying the art process of art. If you are an artist yourself, or you want to, you definitely have an inspiration for it, don't do what I did and sit on it for years. Do something about it now, while you've still got the chance. And if you're really passionate, if it's something you're really passionate about, really make an effort, really push yourself and put the boat out, because if you don't try, you won't actually get anywhere, and you'll regret never trying it. You will regret not at least trying to make something of it. And that's something certainly I'm trying to do today, which is the reason why I'm streaming. It's because I want to really make this into something. I really want to make this, this dream that I've had for years into reality. And for too long, I've been sitting on this dream and not really done anything. But here I am today, doing this, trying to fulfill a dream that I've given up on years ago. So if you are an artist, or maybe you've been out there, you've tried, you've probably spoke to, perhaps like me, you've actually gone out, you've even spoken to companies, and they've not given you the most positive feedback or the positive responses. Try not to let it get to you. I know it did with me, and as a result, I didn't push myself. But now I'm in a position where I can go back and say, all right, I'm going to make up for that now. But many years have passed, and opportunities that I could have potentially had before are passing me by. But the fat lady hasn't sung yet, so still got some time. So if you are inspired by today's stream or whatever, to do something with your artwork, please do something. Don't waste your talent. Don't waste your ability. But if that's not your passion, it might be singing or some other field. Not everybody's going to be an artist. Not everybody can be an artist. Not everybody can be a singer. Not everybody can be a professional football player. It's one of those things. But if you've got a passion for something, maybe you've got a passion for numerous things, give them a go. See which one works for you. Because one of your passions might turn out to be the one you want. Some passions might just be for fun. And if you just want to draw for fun, that's fine too. If that's what you want to do. But push yourself. Don't let any failure or disappointment get in the way. Just really make it happen. Do something with it. The ability that you've been given, do something with it. Because as I say, you don't want to get to the point later in life you're thinking, oh, I wish I'd done this. You don't ever want to get there. Which is why I'm sort of now making sure that before my final days on this wonderful earth have gone, I want to at least know that I've gone out there, I've done it, I've done the best I can, I've tried to make something of this. Whether I succeed or fail, that's not up to me. It's only up to me in the sense of actually making the effort to do something with it. But in terms of actually succeeding, that all depends on how life goes. If I'm successful, fantastic. If I'm not, at least I know I've done it. At least I know I've tried. I've not just sat down and done nothing. So yeah, if you've got a passion or a dream, whether it's art or something else, do it. See, now this is where the details are really come into play, because the ship is starting to become more solid. And I'm starting to trackify it a bit now by having different segments, and then these extra little lines on it. That's something, a little trick I learned from Trek, which is that you have different panels each time. Every little thing has some sort of panel. I think that's the big difference between that and Star Trek. Sorry, that and Star Wars. Star Wars did a lot of model bashing, where they would take different models and stick them all together. I'm sure that Star Trek did it to a certain degree, but they just bashed lots of different pieces of models together to make the craft that they did. Whereas Star Trek, they literally drew them with all the different details on it. I mean, they went all to the trouble of doing technical drawings and stuff like that. And it's something I learned about Star Trek, is putting these technical elements to a piece just to make it just that bit more interesting, and shows that there's a little bit more thought put into it. It's another of my famous vents. There's another little vent as well. Now, when I come to inking in, I might use do a shrunk down version of this before inking it in. Inking in a big, large picture like this is painful. So what I'm probably going to do is, once I've scanned it in, I'll print off an A4 page, then ink that one in. So that it's less. I can still put the detail in because the detail's there, but at least it'll be slightly easier to do. Let's do this bit first. Get my old Saturn ring effect going on here. A slight change there, just to make that a bit more thicker and solid, so that it fits. really interesting to see how this ship has taken on a new life. Compared to the original version, and not just the version that the JAZZA drew, but the one I did for the competition. It really has taken on a whole new persona. Now I'm adding a little bit of shade because I think it'd be good to have this like it's curved glass. Now I'm not completely happy with this side still. Ah, right. I think I've just seen what's wrong here. Just seeing why this doesn't feel right. Because I've forgotten about that thin edge there. So if I make that thinner, yeah, that feels better. Matches a bit more now. Okay, so now let's get these guys in. Right. There's no question this craft has taken a whole new personality. Sorry, I know I'm in silent mode once more. But as I said, this is the fun bit. Just really pulling it together. Wow. Let's try and get as much detail as I can, because I've only to. We've been going for almost 2 hours, so I do need to take some time to do other bits and pieces. But I think it's been quite a successful session today. I think we've accomplished a lot. So here's another little element I've added there that wasn't in the original concept design. I'm probably not going to do all the details today, because this is taking some time, but I will get as much in as I can before we break up, before I finish. Now you might notice I'm doing a little bit of additional workings on the top of these rocket bits, or I don't know what you call them, funnels or whatever you want to call them. But I feel like it's important to get them looking spot on and right, and so they look neat and realistic. Now tomorrow, if you're around for Twitch, around about 4 o'clock, I'll be doing the next part of the what do you call it, the Force Hunter characters. Done 2 extras already, so I don't know if I'm either going to be inking in the one I did last week, or I'm just going to come up with 2 new ones from the set. There was a set of 6. I've done 3, I think, so far, if my memory serves. I've done 3 so far. So there's another 3 more to go. I did the He-Man one last week, even though that wasn't the original intended one that I was going to work on. And I did the Mandalorian style. Prior to that, it was the manga style. So I'll be doing that tomorrow on my Twitch channel. It's the same name as this one, except with the word art. So the word art is not in the name in the title, but if you just type in Earth Dragon, you should be able to find it quite easily. So hopefully anyone that's watching today will join me there. But again, if you are watching for the first time and you haven't subscribed yet, please feel free if you want to see more of this sort of work. I'm mainly going to be, I mean, although I'm doing some JAZZA pieces like this one for now, I'm not always going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing some of my own stuff as well. But this is just, I'm only doing these because these are pieces that I entered in and I wasn't completely satisfied. And I really want to kind of go back and refine the work that I did, especially with all the new abilities that I've gained over the years. I mean, even something like this, the detail here. In some ways, there's another channel I like watching. I don't know if you've heard of him. What's his name? James Ray's, the box office artist, and he is very much into doing his detail. And for that, I like, that's a particular thing I like about his channel. And I think some of this inspiration for details comes from him in terms of his ways, just adding these little extra bits. See, like this, for example, I would never have thought of doing what I'm doing here. Would never have considered this kind of method of doing some kind of tube or funnel. Right, where's that sun? Still there. Actually, that should probably be a bit further in, shouldn't it? Yeah, it's better. Wow. It's not often I'm surprised at how things go, but this is definitely going in a very surprising direction, one that I didn't expect it would. Wow. Really did not anticipate this. Going in this direction at all. So unexpected. I wonder what JAZZA's going to think of my new take on his Rogue Starship. Is he going to love it? He's going to hate it? I don't know. Whew. Wow. Right. Just to take a break, just to show you the reason why I'm saying wow on this. And I say, I don't know how much of this you can see. It's not. I know it's not the clearest image on the camera, but this was what it was before. This was what I. This is the version I did of his craft in 2015. And while the details are all there, it's not as complex as this one. And this is why I'm going wow. This one really feels heavy, real, like there's weight to it. It feels like it's something that if you saw it, you'd know it's got some power behind it and can really push the boat out. This just looks weird, but that's more because of how I've drawn it more than anything else. And I say there's nothing wrong with the original design of it. It's just when I drew it and how what I've done now it's just such a different ship. It's still the Rogue Star, but it feels more. There's more meat. It feels more meaty as a craft, and I absolutely love it. And I'm looking forward to actually finishing this guy off. But I'm not going to do. I don't think I'm going to do it all today. I'm just going to do the main elements I think I need to work on. Whoops. And then next week we'll try and next week Saturday we'll try and really add the missing detail that's put the thick line work on it and ultimately start inking the thing in. But I think that's definitely the next stage of this guy. I tell you what, it's not often that I get satisfied with the outcome of my artwork. But when I do feel really satisfied, it always amazes me. Like I said, I can't show you yet because it's a project, it's an ongoing project. But been working on this year's t-shirts, Halloween t-shirts that I started releasing last year. Because I've got some more characters I want to do, and I need to paint them and get it designed. But one of the characters that I really struggled with to get right, well, there was two actually. There were two that I really struggled to get looking good. One of them was a vampire bat, getting that to look like, the look that, and I said I don't want to give too much away because you'll have to wait and see when they get released what I'm talking about. But trying to get it to in the way that I wanted it was incredibly difficult. And the other one, which is even more difficult, more tricky, was actually the witch version. Because as I say, I was trying to force it. I was trying to do the cliche of the witch flying on their broomstick and everything else. And the idea was sound, but for some reason I just could not seem to get it to work the way I wanted to. And I had to kind of really let go of what my vision was and let the picture take its own course. And so without going into too much detail, when I was drawing the face itself was okay, but the image just looked, in my opinion anyway, on the image one I was working on, it just looked like me putting a face on an object that's already there. It was like cutting and pasting a face. It's like taking an apple and putting a face on it. It looked like that. It looked like I was just putting a face onto an object, and it just seemed like it just felt weird and wrong. And I just couldn't bring myself to accept it. So I redid it, put in the face, tried to make the face. I'm trying to get my words out here. What I was trying to achieve was to make this object, this person, or this character look like the face was on the character, as opposed to it looking like I've just cut and paste the face on top of it, if that makes sense. That wasn't what I wanted, but when I redrew it with the face first, it became the actual character became what I was after, and I finally got the image that I was looking for. And when I finally got it, that's when I got really satisfied with, okay, this is what I was looking for. This is what I was trying to achieve. Same with this. Although it's far from being finished. It's still quite away from getting finished, but it is definitely becoming what I'm asking, what I want it to be. It's a vastly improved version of this ship. Right, now I've got to be careful because this is covering up a large portion of this bit. That's it. Now this one I will keep it as these lines rather than the other lines you saw me doing the other ones. I think it works better with it on this one. Okay. Okay. Still not 100% sure on this bit at the back here. I feel like it's not quite in the right place, so I'm not going to strengthen that. I might do that bit offline so that I'm not adding too much in the wrong place, you know. Okay. Right, I'm going to be finishing up soon. It's been going on for quite a while, and I feel like I just need to give myself a wee little bit of a break. But this has been quite a successful project. From being just plain lines at the beginning to being something, you know, quite a tangible craft. Well, I can tell that's definitely still not right here. Let's try and remove some of these inner guidelines because I think it's throwing off. It's harder to see if it's right or not with those in there. It's looking a bit better. Same here. Yeah, that's starting to feel a little more on point. Just wasn't really feeling completely accurate. Yeah, it's starting to look better now. The other good thing about taking a break is rather than finishing a whole piece in one go is sometimes you can see things after you stopped that you didn't see while you were doing it because you're so focused on getting everything right in that part, you don't always see the wood for the trees, so to speak. So it is always good to, you know, once in a while, just stop what you're doing, look at your piece, see what you've done, see if it makes sense. And if it don't, that's when you fix it. but you want to do that before you start inking in, because once you ink it in, that's it, it's permanent. And you can still see things when you're inking in, but there's more chance that you're going to ink it in and still have it wrong. All right, folks, I think we're going to call it a day there. Do thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the process of this. Let me try and move it up so you can see it a bit better, because I think I've knocked it a few times. Yeah, so just to recap, this is what it was previously. In fact, the sun has kind of disappeared, so let me see if we can get some natural light coming in, so it'll be a bit clearer, hopefully. There we go, some natural light coming in. Good, right. So this is what it was originally. I say the proportions and angles were completely off, weren't where they should be. But you know, it's just time didn't really allow me to do very much proper working out of it. But I know I did struggle to get the angles right when I did the original version, and I always wanted to come back to this and finish this and redo the ship and just fix the poster, fix the areas in the poster that I wasn't really satisfied with. And today, this is what we've ended up with. It's not fully finished. There's still a lot more work to do. The next stage is going to be actually using my graph gear and getting some of the lines really rock solid and really make this piece a much clearer piece. I need to figure out where that nacelle goes. I think it just needs to go further down, but I'll need to suss out at a later stage how I can fix that part, because I think it's way too visible up the top there. It doesn't feel right there. But I think as a whole, I'm really satisfied that this ship looks a lot more meaty. It doesn't have quite as long a nose cone as the original, but I can always extend that in post anyway. It's not the end of the world. But I feel this is a much more meaner looking beast than the original, and it's got some real good solid lines on it. So I am looking forward to refining this, fixing little areas where it's not quite, maybe the angle's not quite right and everything else. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you do like this video, do give it a thumbs up. Really do appreciate the support in that regard. And if you want to see more of this kind of stuff and the sci-fi pieces that I'm going to do in the future, click the old subscribe button so that you get, so that you're made aware of any new videos that become available. And if you actually tick the notification bell, you should get some form of notification, like an immediate alert to say I'm either live or I've got a new video coming out. I think I've got a video coming out this Tuesday. I think it's this Tuesday, or is it next Tuesday? Actually, I think it's next Tuesday. So keep an eye out for that one. I believe, I'm not 100% sure which one it is now, because I need to check my schedules. But every fortnight at the moment, on a Tuesday night, I do release a video every fortnight for the moment. I need to make some more. I need to do some more editing. But every fortnight, there should be a new video. And I believe, I say, the next one's on the 16th is the next video. So, 16th? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the 16th. So do check that out. And until the next time I see you, have a nice day, and I'll be seeing you. Bye-bye.